Hello, BookTube. Well, it's a bright, beautiful, blue sky, cool Sunday, and I've got some mail for you. And if I don't, if I don't start making videos again, I'm just gonna mope around this place forever. So I might as well, I might as well start making videos. I mean, guests leave all the time. Guests do not stay. That's what makes them guests. I had a great time. I had an absolutely great week of company. First, a big blast of it a week ago today, and then a whole week of having a friend here who we could do things and talk about things and watch things. And okay, but that will happen again, and there's still that's that friends leave. They guests don't stay. So I thought I will make a couple of flailing videos in an attempt to get back into the swing of things. So since there's mail, I thought we'd go through mail and just see what is what. So we've got 3 packages here, no boxes, but we'll see what we have. It's ironic that the day is absolutely beautiful. My guest, for those of you who don't know, and I should actually go back in those older videos and put the link in every one of them. My guest for the week, my guest on Sunday was my friend Sam, Hannah from Hannah's Books, and David Murphy. And then for the rest of the week, my guest was David. Sam and Hannah left, and David stayed. And the whole time that he was here, it was raining almost every day, sometimes in buckets, sometimes a lot, even thunder. And then the minute his plane touched down on soil in the upper Midwest, the sun came out here. I sent him a picture. So I'm not blaming him, though. So let's see. Oh, okay. All right, this first one is historical fiction. This comes out in July. This is by the redoubtable Lindsay Davis, whose Marcus Didius Falco mysteries are terrific, funny, and terrific. Some of them are really good. These are not them. These are the next generation. She was largely letting real time play out in those books, so she figured after a while, I can't just keep telling Falco stories. There's got to be a next generation, and that's what we have. These are Flavia Alba novels. We've seen a few of them on this channel. In fact, we might have seen them all. This is called There Will Be Bodies, and it stars not Falco, but after all this time, I forget her relationship to Falco. There's so many people in the Falco novels who are in his household, and he loves them like family, but they're not actually related to him by blood. And I don't know if she is. I don't also know if if Lindsay Davis would bother to say by now, because this series has been going on for a while. She always starts a cast of characters. Yeah, there we go. So Flavia Alba is identified as a freelance investigator, comes at a price. And she is, I should point out to those of you who maybe don't know it, she's a complete anachronism. Just a complete, flagrant anachronism. Nothing like this would have happened in the ancient world. It's unlikely that there would have been a lot of freelance investigators, male or female, in the ancient world. Gordianus the Finder, for instance, in Stephen Saylor's novels. But she is a complete anachronism. A tough-talking, 5-foot-tall, sopping wet, 80-pound take-charge girl boss who don't need no man would have her throat slit just by a vendor. Just a pizza vendor would slit her throat just on principle and kick the body into the gutter where the dogs would eat it. So that would happen immediately. That would happen the very first time she said, "Look, I don't want to have to rough you up." So you have to suspend your disbelief there. And it's a hefty suspension of disbelief because Lindsay Davis is fairly good at historical accuracy everywhere else. This is just, the central element is just, but I want to know if the beginning here, tells us who she is in relation to Falco, although he might not even be in this book. No, he's not even in the table of contents. Okay, well, let's see what we have here for this one. This comes out in the middle of the summer. In first century Rome, yeah, I'm wondering if that's Vesuvius on the cover, which would be In first century Rome, just 10 years, just 10 years after Mount Vesuvius erupted, covering the cities and towns along the Bay of Naples in ash, Flavia Albia, yeah, okay. Have I been saying Alba? I probably have been. Embarks on a quest to uncover family secrets and potential crimes hidden within those remains. In the latest installment in Lizzie Davis' historical murder mystery series, There Will Be Bodies. Flavia Albia, daughter of she's Falco's daughter, is once again faced with uncovering the truth, quite literally. While some cities were destroyed during the eruption, others were merely badly damaged. And the uncle of Flavia Albia's husband seizes the opportunity to buy a villa cheap. It just has to be dug out of the ash and restored. Oh, and any bodies uncovered, including the previous owner, given a proper burial. And as the villa is being renovated, there are indeed bodies found, but one is not like the others. Instead of buried in ashes, the previous owner's body is found in a locked storeroom, and Albia is immediately suspicious that he didn't die in the eruption. With suspicious caretakers, a large inheritance, untrustworthy friends, and a Sicilian pirate sniffing around, Albia must solve the riddle of a long-ago death, maybe murder, to prevent another one. And that's terrific. To find a body in a buried mansion at Pompeii is terrific. That is a terrific premise for a book. And I long ago got over that historical anachronism on my own. I fought with it for years. But then I got over it because Lizzie Davis is such a terrific storyteller that I ended up just telling myself, you can overlook this. If you can overlook a lot of other anachronisms, especially in the Twitter politics, box-ticking modern era, then you can certainly overlook this. For the sake of this kind of well-done murder mysteries, you can certainly overlook it. But it's going to be present from minute one of this book. From minute one, Flavia Albia and her husband buy a villa. It sounds like, wasn't that the connection here? Yeah, her husband wants to buy a villa, clean it out, and he finds a dead body. A murdered body. Not just the usual dead bodies from the eruption, although it wouldn't be the ash that killed them, right? But not just the usual dead bodies, but a body someone's been murdered. Obviously, if you put two and two together from the pub sheet, that means that Flavia Albia is going to investigate that murder. And that's what I'm talking about. Because what would be the first step in investigating that murder? You would want to find the household staff, anyone who was present on the day of the eruption, because someone present on the day of the eruption had to be the one who locked the man in to his doom. So you would want to find them. And how would you go about that? Well, maybe you would go to the nearest house that was continually occupied, so a house in the village or on the outskirts of the town where the ashfall wasn't bad enough to make people leave. And those people, having stayed all throughout, might know something about who lived in the house at the time, 2 years ago. So you would go over there, and you would ask the front door porter to talk to the man of the house. And if you're an unaccompanied woman, the front door porter would savage you, beat you to death, and throw you in the nearest pit. And not because the owner is guilty, and not because the front door owner is guilty, the front porter is guilty. Just on general principle. You are a second class, third class, fourth class citizen. You're not human, unless you're a matron, unless you're wealthy. I confess, I'm drawing a blank right now in my mind on whether or not Flavia Albia is wealthy in these books. Maybe she brings retainers of her own. And if she got a male retainer to ask the question, fine. But if she asked the question, well, none of it would work. It all collapses. Not only would no one pay attention if she asked the questions herself, but if she asked the questions herself, her husband would be socially ruined. And not just on the seaside in Naples. Word would immediately travel to Rome. And you would never recover from that. And in the real Roman world, the ancient Roman world, if he learned that his wife was asking people questions in order to uncover a murderer, he would kill her himself. Not the murderer. He would kill her himself. So I'm just going to have to live with it. That's all. It's tough to do. It's really tough to do. I mean, it's the equivalent of if somebody were, what's the equivalent? Picture, I don't even know, Austrian society in the age of Bismarck. and you've got a policeman, or let's say a private investigator, something like Bernie Gunter only 100 years before. You've got a private investigator, he's a man, he's gruff, and he's also openly gay. Well, no, that torpedoes the whole series. Now, let's say the writer is as good as Philip Kerr, so you want to read them anyway. You would not be able to stop thinking of that when he sachets up to someone and says, "Tell me what you know," and is not immediately arrested and put into hard labor for 20 years. I'll get over it. I always do, so I'll get over it. But historical murder mystery, that's always good. I don't know what Lindsay Davis maybe thought she had to prove or wanted to say. I know what she wanted to say, right? All men are scum. That when the Flavia Alva mystery started, that was the prevailing mindset. All men are scum. Rape culture is real. All the usual things that you heard then, and that are taken as gospel now by a small segment of society. And at the time that all of that nonsense, that all of that nonsense was percolating throughout, that everybody was saying it, that everyone was having it stickered on their office door during office hours at the university or whatever. At the time, I was thinking, and then later on YouTube here, I said, we all want equality under the law. We all want fair and just treatment in society and in law. But if you keep being this doctrinaire about this, the rebound, the response, the recoil is going to be something you have not anticipated. It's going to be violent fascism. And the reason I'm saying that is not because I don't agree with some of the thoughts that you have in your head. It's that I don't want to present my papers on the sidewalk to any MAGA red hat that wants to see them. And sure enough, nobody did temper that. And that's what we have now. Anyway, I don't have this. I'm clearly out of practice. This thing's gone off the rails. Let's see what we have now. I'll try to be good. Okay, so at least for titles, we're sticking with Rome, but this won't be that. This is a fiction in translation. It's called the Via Appia. You won't be able to tell that from the crappy cover design, but that's what it's called, which is a famous road in Italy, famous Roman road. And the author is Giovanni Martins, and it's translated by Julia Sanchez. And that is the cover. I would much rather look at the being than that hideous mess. But so this comes out also in July, 2 Julys. Okay, so what have we got here? Okay, you're going to be on the back here too. It has 2 blurbs. Okay, I promise I'm not going to just rant throughout this mail haul. I want to upload it, and that is always the problem. It comes with 2 huge blurbs from authors who owe their careers entirely to the kind of blue checkmark box ticking that I'm talking about. Entirely. They owe their careers entirely to that, and they both blurb this. So let's see if likes like. Via Appia is a 21st century Brazilian epic set over the course of a year and a half. In charged bursts, this vital novel relates the day-to-day experiences and changing fates of 5 young people whose lives are permanently altered when the Brazilian government orders the military police to occupy Rosina, Rio de Janeiro's largest favela, as part of the pacification efforts in anticipation of the World Cup, the Olympics, and an influx of global tourism in the city. Our protagonists are the brothers, Washington and Wesley, who work part-time at a restaurant as servers for kids' parties, and after helping their mom out with the household expenses, blow their extra cash on a bit of fun. Nearby, a group of roommates, Douglas, Murillo, and BL, share everything from their joints to their chores. Their apartment, just a quick bus ride from the beach on Via Appia, Rosina's main entry point and commercial avenue between the favela and Rio de Janeiro. This novel is divided into 3 parts: the expectant anxiousness of waiting for the police invasion, the chaos born from their installations in the neighborhood, and their silent withdrawal after 1 year. Okay. The unbridled ambitions, the resolute friendships, the triumphs and struggles of Washington, Wesley, Douglas, Murillo, and B.L. Blair through this book, calling attention to the increasing prevalence and severity of state repression and delivering a resonant counter-narrative to the notion that violent interventions are the state's only remedies to social problems. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm assuming that you are very young and insufferably preachy. If I looked up this author on social media, on Blue Sky, well, let's find out. Since I'm running the risk of not uploading this video anyway, we might as well find out. Giovanni Martinez was born in 1991 in Rio de Janeiro. He grew up with his mother in the Rio neighborhood of Vidigal. He supported his writing by working as a sandwich board man and selling drinks on the beach. So he is his characters, and they are him. And was discovered during creative writing workshops at FLUP, the Literary Festival of the Rio Favelas. The Sun on My Head, his first book, is being adapted for television by Kendrick Lamar's production company and was published in 10 languages. Okay. I wonder if the translator has anything to say. Translation from the Portuguese, Spanish, and Catalan. And lives in Providence, Rhode Island. I wonder if... in modern works of translation, the translator almost never says anything. And I always wish they would. I'm fascinated by translator notes. No matter what, no matter how recent the book is, I'm fascinated by them. I guess maybe... the number one question that I want to ask, who's her name again? Julia Sanchez, is how much did she work with the author, if at all? So this was written in 2022. Okay, well, I'll have to read up on that whole word cup thing. Maybe I'll do that after instead of before. So the author is going to work hard to give me really good impressions of that, and that's really important. That's a thing that kind of lived experience, impressions of historical events, is something that novels can do, and not a lot of historians, not a lot of history books, even think that they are obliged to do that. So you get that from novels, whether it's A Tale of Two Cities or whatever, and we'll give it a try. I don't have to try either one of these things for a good while. It is the end of the first week of May. So in both these cases, I will probably wait for the arrival of the finished copy before I will start to think about working it into the reading. And then we have this final package, and then we'll be done with a return to form mail haul that turned out to want to derail at all points. We will try to just keep this on track. I have a feeling that you're going to ask to come down here, so I'll move these out of the way first. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Any pub sheets? No. All right. This next one is July. Good Lord. Are these all going to be July? This is by Scott Ellsworth. I knew it. I knew it. Where do you want to go? Do you want to come down here next to me? There you go. There you go. Oh, there you go. And here, let's take this and block this so that we're not blasting sunlight. This first one is by Scott Ellsworth, and it is called Midnight on the Potomac. The last year of the Civil War, the Lincoln assassination, and the rebirth of America. Midnight on the Potomac. Given the subtitle, can anyone spot the problem with this cover illustration? Aside from Bill Rutenberg. Bill Rutenberg, put your hand down. Although this is going to go to him, obviously. Let's see here. Best-selling author and historian, Scott Ellsworth. Okay, well, you can't be a best-selling historian without being an author. Unless you're doing something else to earn your money. Just best-selling historian is fine. His new book is the most page-turning and compelling about the Civil War in years. Oh, come now. Oh, come now. Well, maybe not. Maybe I don't know what the publicist means by years. Alan Guelzo's book on Gettysburg is fantastic. That wasn't... How long ago was that? I don't know how long ago that was. Maybe that was a long time ago. I'm thinking no more than 10 years. Focusing on the last desperate months of the war, when the outcome was far from certain, this book describes titanic battles, political upheaval, and the long-forgotten Confederate terror war against the North. It goes behind the scenes in the White House, along battlefronts in Virginia, and into the conspiracies of spies and secret agents. Lincoln walks these pages, as do Grant and Sherman. So do common soldiers, runaway slaves, and the long unknown and intrepid female war correspondent, Lois Adams. Rarely has a book about the Civil War featured such a rich and diverse cast of characters. Yeah, that's almost never happened. This book also shatters long-held myths. Here we go. I'm going to upload this video, no matter what. And I'm not going to do it by taking the coward's way out of food for thought. We're going to get through this. I'm back. You can't avoid me anymore. Let's hear the long-held myths. For more than a century and a half, the Lincoln assassination has been portrayed as the sole brainchild of the disgruntled pro-South actor, John Wilkes Booth. Not once. Not once by anybody. Not once by any historian. Not once. But based on obscure contemporary accounts and decades of long-ignored scholarship, this book reveals that for nearly 1 year before the tragic events at Ford's Theater, John Wilkes Booth had been working closely with agents of the Confederate Secret Service, and the real Booth is far from the one we've long been presented with. This book is a new kind of book about the Civil War. That's really interesting. That's an interesting claim. This whole back of the book is strongly suggesting that. Showing vividly the Confederate attempts to burn down New York City, how Lincoln almost lost the presidency, how a rebel general nearly captured Washington, and how thousands of enslaved African Americans freed themselves and helped secure their nation's survival. In an age of deep political divisions, this book is an eloquent and gripping testament to the courage, grit, and greatness of the American people. Okay, well, I love that the pub sheet here is coming out full-throatedly like that. I stumbled a little in that last sentence because it has errors in it, just errors in it, and I know why they're there. They're there for blue check mark box ticking reasons. They're there for virtue signaling. They're there so that you don't get canceled. Although where you're going to get canceled, I don't have any idea. Society has been canceled because you were pulling this kind of crap for 10 years. Among other things, among other reasons, enslaved African Americans freed themselves. That's the part that I stumbled on. They weren't Americans; they were slaves. They weren't enslaved; they were enslaved. They were slaves. So that line, how thousands of slaves freed themselves, or African slaves freed themselves, would work fine if that's what you wrote, but you can't write that. You can't say the word slave. I have now read major works of Civil War biography that do not contain the word slave except when quoting period pieces of the time. They do not do it. You cannot call someone a slave. You must say enslaved person. And if you call them a slave instead of an enslaved person, your book contract is canceled. Instantly. You will be told, we've gone through, we've done a search here and a search and replace here and changed all of that terminology. Kindly don't let it happen again. And if you write back to that editorial intervention and say, change it all back, I don't agree with Newspeak. It's ridiculous. A slave is an enslaved person, so change it all back. Not only will it not be done, but your contract will be canceled. And if you're part of an institution, and you almost certainly will be, your job will be in danger, even your tenure will be in danger. Not because of anything to do with race, but because to do with ideological fascism. Because a group of people told you what to say. We have come up with a word that you are, a neologism that you are to use in place of the term that has been used for 200 years. We have postured and virtue signaled all sorts of moral reasons for that. Only moral reasons for that. We're not moral people. We're terrible people, or we wouldn't be fascists. But we're still going to make you do it. And we have the high ground. We have the whip hand. We can make you do it. And if you want to ask us, we'll tell you what our moral reasons are, although really it's not our job to teach you. Do the work. Anyway, that was just the back of the book. That's not the book itself. Although the book itself has me questioning now. That description of all the things that happen in this book makes me wonder, when it starts. It says that the subtitle says it was the last year of the war. When do we start? Actually, let's just take let's just go straight to the beginning. Hardly anyone could understand the boy. Clad in his child-sized Union Army uniform, complete with shiny brass buttons, epaulets, and a silk sash, his words, such as they were, came out as a flood of toneless syllables, consonants, and dropped vowels. Okay, that is incorrect. It's not his uniform that says words. Anyway, and it's not his tone that's clad in a uniform. It doesn't work either way. It's just, do you want to go over there? You can do that. Go ahead. No, you want to stick with me? It's all right. We've got drama going on off camera here. There we go. There's my baby. But let's keep going. Dear became day. Crook was took, and Missus was mumbled as myth. He had his own language, recalled one of the bodyguards, only there was more. 3 weeks past his 10th birthday, Tad Lincoln still could not read, write, or dress himself, and he had such a hard time chewing that his food had to be mashed or chopped ahead of time. He was still grieving the loss of his older brother, Willie, to smallpox 2 years earlier, while his mother, beset with worries that she might lose him as well, had pulled him out of school. As a result, Tad wasn't just the president's youngest son, he was also a deeply lonesome boy growing up in the most famous home in America. Interesting. Okay. The current director of the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the guy with millions of agencies, millions and millions of dollars, all earmarked for safeguarding American health and welfare, has said a number of times that a little smallpox won't be all that bad for you. We had smallpox, rubella, and mumps and measles when I was a kid, and I turned out just fine. Batshit crazy. Don't you want your own kids to turn out fine? The 10% of them that survive? Okay. All right, let's just wrap this farce up, shall we? The next book is August, so this is all a summer thing. I don't get a chance to go at any of these. Oh, all right. Okay. Well. Okay. All right. So half this book haul is going elsewhere. Half of it's not staying with me. This is M.G. Sheftal, and this is the companion volume at long last. This is Nagasaki, The Last Witnesses, the companion to Hiroshima. Again, no pub sheet. Hiroshima was quite good. I don't remember who I reviewed it for, but it was quite good. This is the second volume in a prize-worthy 2-book series based on years of irreplicable personal interviews with survivors about each of the atomic bomb drops, first in Hiroshima, then Nagasaki, that hastened the end of the Pacific War. I wonder if, well, an advanced copy won't have blurbs, so I don't know. I can't. The series is called Embers. And volume 1 of the Ember series was Hiroshima, and now volume 2 is here in the late summer. Let's see here. On August 6, 1945, the United States unleashed a weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen. Then, just 3 days later, when Japan showed no signs of surrender, the United States took aim at Nagasaki. Rendered in harrowing detail, this historical narrative is the second and final volume in the author's Embers series. Sheftal has spent years personally interviewing the Hibakusha, the Japanese word for atomic bomb survivors. These last living witnesses are a vanishing memory resource, the only people who can still provide us with reliable and detailed testimony about life in their cities before the use of nuclear weaponry. That's very good. That's very well worded. They actually cannot provide us with uniformly narrative or even uniformly reliable or even uniformly consistent testimony about living through an atomic bomb blast. That derails your memory. It derails the accuracy of your memory, and then your memories rush back in when you realize you're not dead and codify those false memories. But what life was like before, sure, yeah, and they are the only living witnesses to that are still around. The result is an intimate, first-hand account of life in Nagasaki and the story of incomprehensible devastation and resilience in the aftermath of the second atomic bomb drop. This minute-by-minute account takes us from the city streets, as word of the attack on Hiroshima reaches civilians, to the cockpit of the boxcar where Charlie Sweeney dropped Fat Man, to the interminable 6 days while the world waited to see if Japan would surrender to the Allies or if more bombs would fall. And the author has lived in Japan since 1987 and currently makes his home in Hamamatsu. Uh, okay, well, this doesn't. The main thing that I want to know about it is of course, what and where I wrote about the first one. I feel certain that I reviewed the first one for someone. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I've written about Hiroshima and Nagasaki so many times. But anyway, this obviously is a David Murphy book, so you didn't know that from the last week of book hauls. So this isn't bad at all as mail hauls go. This isn't bad at all. We have historical fiction, which I love. We have literature and translation, which is always an exploration for me, even if I don't always love it. And we have Roman historical fiction. So we have Nagasaki. There's no reason to do this. There's nothing on the spine. Midnight on the Potomac. These two are going elsewhere. I don't know if the review copies will. Maybe the finished copies certainly will. Then we have Via Appia, which is not Rome's Via Appia, and There Will Be Bodies by Lindsay Davis, a Flavia Albia novel about the immediate aftermath of the eruption of Vesuvius. There will be bodies. It's only fair to warn you, my husband told his workmen. Some contractors might have kept quiet, but he liked to be open about risks. Mind you, he had brought me in on the discussion in case he needed support. I won't say the men were frightened of me, but they were generally wary. When Tiberius Manlius took over their nearly bankrupt company, the existing team saw it as a fad. But he could recognize the right end of the chisel. They had learned that now. And for men with mortar on their boots, being employed by a toff in a laundered toga was better than losing their jobs. Not that he was soft. If anyone prefers to stay behind in Rome, I won't be paying a retainer. Well, okay. I will definitely do it. This is a weird mail haul because there's no toehold on tonight's reading. And that's just as well, because I didn't get, when you have your guests, you don't get as much reading done. So I've reading to catch up on. But that's great. A nice Sunday mail haul where we skirted the edge of cancellation and disaster the whole time. But it's got me talking again, and that's good. It's got me concentrating on something other than the week that just ended. I can't get that week back, so just as well. So I'll wrap this up, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.